City of Stevens Point Police and Fire Commission meeting, recorded, January 5, 2021.
I will call to order the January 5th, 2021 meeting of the Stevens Point Police and Fire Commission. Leanne, would you be kind enough to call the roll, please?
Carlson?
Here.
Hirschling?
Here.
Moore?
Here.
Ostrowski?
Here.
And Westcott.
Present. Okay, item 2, the update on COVID-19 fire and police departments. Chief Finn, you always kick it off. I'll give the floor to you, sir.
Oh, we have some updates on the vaccine and stuff. I'm gonna let Chief Gemza give the update.
Chief Gemza.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So yesterday afternoon, received notification that Portage County Health was going to receive the COVID vaccine, 60 doses. We had a meeting about how we were going to administer it, and we moved forward with that. And as of today, 15 of our personnel have been vaccinated, and the rest of them will be vaccinated tomorrow. And so at that point, we'd have 58% of our department vaccinated. That doesn't mean if they opted out of the voluntary vaccine that they can't still get it. Portage County is working on a plan to make sure we keep moving in that direction. We've also been working with Ascension to make sure that our healthcare providers can also get the vaccine through them. So that's where we're at right now as far as the COVID vaccine goes. As far as the COVID cases in Portage County, we're up about 27 cases as of yesterday. As a probable death or confirmed deaths, we are a total at 53, up 1 since yesterday. If you looked at the Wisconsin state website regarding the zones and everything like that, Wisconsin returned black. We went back to the black status, which means it's considered widespread and an issue. Almost the whole state is. I believe there's only one red at that point. So that is what I have for COVID right now. They're expecting a larger spike due to Christmas. And then also we've agreed to move forward with the COVID testing that we do at the ADRC, and that most likely will go through March. And then Portage County Health will be sending us the training videos so that our paramedics can help with the county with mass vaccinations when that becomes available.
Joseph, what are you hearing on the mass vaccination for the public?
Well, as of right now, we're just trying to get through phase 1A, and it would most likely be in the next couple months that we would start that. Right now, it is a perfect trial so that we could start out with 60 vaccines, which is very doable in about a day and a half. I've had brief conversations with Gary Garski about the booster shot, still continuing with the 60, and then still having to get the other 60 would boost us up to the 120 mark. And so we'll continue to work with them on that and adding personnel to help them with the vaccination. But as far as mass vaccinations, I have not heard a timetable, one that I would be comfortable relieving.
Chief, you may have mentioned this in right now, the vaccine distribution among first responders, paramedics, that's the Pfizer vaccine?
Yeah, as well, the one that we received yesterday was the Pfizer vaccine, yes. Okay. So that was 120 hours that they could utilize it from the time they received it. So the timing was a little was the factor. We had till Friday to deliver it all. Our goal was to get it out as fast as possible. 6 hours after Constitution, it has to be used, and each vial contains 5 doses. I'm pleased to report that I talked to Gary today. He said that they were able to get 4 extra doses out of the 5 that they did this morning. So hopefully they'll get some more out of them this evening's vaccination clinic.
And we're utilizing the super freezers at the university science labs?
Not at this time. Right now, it was transported via state troopers.
Okay, all right. Please continue.
That's about all I have. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns?
Commissioner Ostrowski?
Joe, a couple questions for you. None of the nursing homes have yet gotten anything yet, have they?
So each nursing home works with either Walgreens or CVS. The government signed a contract with them, and they will be scheduling their own through that. As far as I know, Portage County Healthcare is supposed to start sometime this week. As far as the other ones, I've not been in contact with them to find out that information.
The other thing, Joe, that I heard is Ascension started on their personnel. Is that correct?
So Ascension has, at this time, offered out to its employees, and Ascension is a large employer within the state of Wisconsin in different areas. So Ascension St. Michael's currently, at this point, as of yesterday at 11, was not administering the vaccine. But the employees had the ability to drive to a location that did have it and sign up and get it at that point.
All righty. Thank you, Joe.
Commissioner Carlson, Commissioner Moore, Commissioner Kirschling. Joseph, I want to back up to stress and strain on the hospitals. We certainly see reports in the national news about many hospitals are basically long past capacity, ambulances being diverted or basically can't unload patients. I think I have shared with this commission in the past, there are medical professionals in the Westcott family and other communities, much larger communities, who are reporting unbelievable stressful conditions. Can you share with the commission any observations you have on Aspirus or St. Michael's in our communities or Marshfield?
So when I look at the North Central regional data, and that's that of the hospitals in the North Central region, basically us and Wood County, and then you move up north to the Upper Peninsula. There's 5 different regions, and we're the North Central region. As of right now, 82% of our hospitals are in hospital beds are in use, and 85.2% of our ICU beds are in use. But the more positive note is that only 18% of the ventilators are currently being utilized, and that's due to a treatment change that they're not putting as many people on COVID on ventilators.
We talked about that last month. The medical efficacy now is basically has been shared with the commission, and Joseph and Chief Finn now is they don't treat with a ventilator unless otherwise necessary. What are you hearing about these mutants, these different strains, South African strain? Any word on that, sir?
So nothing official other than what I've read in like the Mayo Clinic's website and a couple other different places, is that it's not more deadly, it's just more contagious at this point. But again, I would be amiss to try and give you the facts on it at this point.
Yeah.
Joseph, the dosages we are getting are being used. None of them are going to waste, are they?
Well, I assure you that this is a collaborative effort between Portage County, at the EMS system and all of that. And I got to say that it's been a pleasure to work with those professionals, and the ability to, I guess that we've had to change our directions a couple times, but to work with the whole group, there's about 5 or 6 of us that are willing to change and willing to get the people in that need to be in, and get that. So the first responder groups have been they're offered it. This afternoon, you're going to see like Plover paramedics, and them will be vaccinated along with a couple of our own personnel and the first responders. And hopefully by tomorrow at 9:30, all of our doses will be used up, and they will then send for another 60 doses.
How are our rural first responders, the the not on payroll people? How are they taking the medicine?
Well, that's an individual thing, and it really depends. I've not seen the final numbers. I do know that an invite went out to them, And I know that there are first responders that want it. I've been in contact with a couple of their presidents and their heads, and they wanted to know dates and stuff like that.
Thank you, Joe.
Assistant Chief Gemza, you touched briefly on, community planning, but can you give the commission some sense of moving forward, what type of, when the time arrives for basically, for the lack of a better term, mass inoculation of the public, how is that planning process evolving, and who are some of the partners involved in that?
Well, our largest partner right now is Portage County Health and Human Services and the Division of Health. We're working with Dr. Clark from Ascension and the other two service providers, Plover and Amherst. The way that the big picture is kind of shaping up is we're taking our direction from the state and how they visualize everything going forward. There's a couple things we got to understand. I don't think that there's just going to be like a big blowhorn and says we are at this phase. There will be overflows of that, right? So like the U.S. government, it says every U.S. citizen who wants the vaccine should get the vaccine and will have access to the vaccine. It's just a matter of that time. So if certain members of our department at this time have chosen not to, and in 2 weeks have said, oh, I would like the vaccine now, then we have to work with that. So if we may be moving into phase 2A, right? But we would still have that availability for them. So I think what you're going to see is just like you would with the military, a ratcheting up of the vaccine. And that's why this is a very good starting point to start at these numbers. So we can find out how easy the WEIR system is to enter in our immunizations, the paperwork that needs to be filled out, the cards, the scheduling of the revaccination. Because as you know, it's with the Pfizer, it's 21 days. So anywhere between 17 and 22 days is when we'd like to get those shots back to those people. So it's just going to be a matter of the coordination and how that works.
The second shot, Joe, is a separate shipment, correct? You don't have to save 50% of the first shipment.
You are correct. Everything that we received is going out into the form of the vaccine as of today. In 3 weeks, I would anticipate the 26th, we will receive another order, and in that order you will see that there will be 120 rather. So you'd have 60 plus the other 60 that we just did.
Let me back up to Chief Finn. Chief, several months ago, you requested a state of emergency for reasons well publicized, well documented, and well reported. The commission has since relaxed that order of state of emergency. What is the state of readiness for the men and women of the Stevens Point Fire and Paramedic Service as of today's date, sir?
We're good to go. Since even during the state of emergency and since we relaxed it, we have changed the way that we're operating inside the firehouse, and that continues. We're still living in our pods. We are getting out and training with station. Our station 1 will train and station 2 will train. They're not training together. We reevaluate it weekly at our staff meetings and how we're going to operate with inspections and training. As of right now, because of the community spread in Portage County, I don't see us relaxing them for at least another 2 or 3 weeks. But we do reevaluate on how we operate on a weekly basis. But I want to say the measures that we took, since we've taken the measures, we have no reports of COVID in the firehouse. And we got through what we had to get through during that time period.
So we have no firefighter paramedics in quarantine?
Nope.
Good.
Since the state of emergency, when we had people with COVID in quarantine, since that ended, we have had no new cases of COVID inside the firehouse.
I want you to talk in assistant. Go ahead.
I'd like to say that, I mean, I can't say enough about Dr. Clark, Gary Garsky. and the two assistant chiefs, especially Chief Gemza, that the work they've done with the health department and our medical director to keep us up and running. And the measures we've taken have all been based on the science and recommendations they give us. I've been told by, like Dr. Clark, that what we're doing is above and beyond what other fire departments are doing. And we're being proactive in the fight against COVID. And I'm proud of everybody, of my management team and all the men and women that work here, because it's not easy doing what we're doing, okay? But they're coming to work every day. They're seeing more and more patients with COVID. They're taking the proper precautions, and we're getting through this. But it's the efforts of the men and women of the fire department that are making this thing work.
Well, the commission is keenly aware of that, Chief. Conservatively, how many hours a week would you say you are dedicated 100% to addressing the pandemic? We're not even going to touch on the other fire chief issues, but we know this is not a 5-day-a-week commitment from your part.
Well, I can tell you firsthand experience, Chief Gems is living at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Myself, Assistant Chief Moody, and even the Fire Marshal Egan and Training Officer Howard, we're dedicating out of a 40-hour, we're dedicating between 25 and 30 hours a week, plus everything else going on here. But Chief Gemza gets information at 10 o'clock at night that we talk to each other. I mean, he's living and breathing this. And without his dedication to his job, we wouldn't be where we're at.
I would certainly agree. Joseph, Chief Gemza, what advice would you have for the community? Maybe I should preface it this way. I came across a statistic the other day that I questioned, but have since verified. This is accurate. If you want to get an idea of the scope, the seriousness of this pandemic, and how the community should be taking it completely serious, is that an American citizen dies every 33 seconds. And it's been that way now for about a week and a half. I mean, that is a very, very alarming statistic. Joseph, what advice would you have for the community that will watch this meeting or hear about it? What advice would you have for members of the general public?
Basically, we've started the next chapter with the vaccines coming in, with new vaccines supposedly going to be into their phase 3 trials, which would make more available. Is patience. I mean, really, we know that if we social distance, we know that if we wash, we know if we wear masks, we know we can curb the spread of COVID-19. And if we let the vaccine catch up to what we're doing, and we don't change how our behaviors, we can eventually move forward and beat this. And so it's really, as far as I'm concerned, it's about patience and your dedication to your fellow citizen. At the end of the day, make sure you make smart choices when you're out there doing stuff. I understand you have to live, but make sure you have a mask. Make sure you get tested. Make sure you do the things that you need to. Hand sanitizers, wash your hands, and it's terrible. It really is. Many of us have not seen our loved ones for over a year. I've not seen my mother for over a year, and that's not easy. But if we all work together as a community, we can get through it.
Chief Finn, what would you add to that?
I think Chief Gemza summed it up. If social distancing, wearing a mask, hand sanitizer, and patience is a big thing. This is going to take a while. This isn't going to end at the end of January. And I know sometimes I'm not the most patient person. So having patience in how we're operating the fire department sometimes is hard on me, because that's not how we operate. But this is how we have to operate to get through this. And that's all I can say.
All right, let me turn to the police aspect of this. Certainly there's contact in the community from our officers who have contact, who assist EMS. Chief Zenner, what would you report to the commission today as far as how are the police officers in the community doing?
I really don't have a whole lot to add other than obviously Assistant Chief Gemza nailed everything out there. We did have a brief hit at the police department where we took some of our officers got ill. I think we had about a 2-week process. After report everybody's back to work, we weathered that storm and we're at 100%.
Good. So no longer anyone in quarantine.
No, we everyone that is employed is back to work.
Okay. And the officers are taking maximum protection on patrol, face mask, contact rules and regs.
Right. We've been maintaining the same protocols. We have not, you get into that point where you want to start relaxing some of the things that we have in place, but we're not to that point yet. As Assistant Chief Gemza said, it's going to take patience, and we got to be patient. We're coming to that point in our in this time frame that we kind of want to rush it, but we need to be smart, and we're going to maintain where we have been for the last 6 months.
Yep, that would be great. Are there any further questions from commissioners?
Yes, Chief Center, have you gotten a lot of calls to businesses where people aren't wearing masks?
No, actually, when the first early in this process, we did get some calls. Obviously, we have stressed voluntary compliance, and educate the best we can. We really have not been getting any of those calls. If we are, they're very sporadic.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? Commissioner Kirschling, Commissioner Moore, Commissioner Ostrowski? All right, thank you. Thank you. Let's move to item 3, update on the training officer position. Chief Finn.
A few months ago, we came before the Police and Fire Commission, and City Council approved it, the creation of a new position for this administration, but an old position that was in the firehouse as a training officer. And I asked Training Officer Howard, Division Chief Howard, to put together a presentation in a short period of time and the changes that we're making here to give the commission an update on that position. So I'm going to turn it over to Division Chief Howard.
All right, that would be item 4 on the agenda, a presentation by the training officer.
Correct.
Trevor, where are you? There you are. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me and allowing me to take up a little bit of your time. I do have a PowerPoint presentation, but I'm not allowed to share my screen. The host has control of the screen. So you won't be able to see basically any of the pictures I had prepared. So I'll just talk you through what I had.
I can send that to you, Trevor.
And
Yeah,
I think Chief Zenner can give you permission to share your screen.
right.
Okay.
Right. Thank you. And you can also email after the meeting, Trevor, your PowerPoint to the commission's email.
Certainly, and to be completely honest, it's just an 8-slide PowerPoint on some of the things that kind of emphasize some of the things. It's just mostly pictures, but some talking points on what I was going to hit today.
You are now host.
All right, can everybody see the PowerPoint screen?
Yep, we have it. Go ahead, Trevor.
Okay, and so just as an introduction, I think, for most of you, I know Commissioner Westcott was here. I was hired in April of 2010. I've been at the Stevens Point Fire Department for, it'll be 11 years in April. I'm originally from Menominee, Wisconsin, on the west side of the state. I was a firefighter in Menominee for 5 years prior to moving here. As it was tough for me to come off the line when this position arose, and I had the opportunity to apply for this position. But I thought to move this department forward, as most of you know, the Stevens Point Fire Department has been without a training officer since 2008. And so to really make the most impact on the department, I thought this was the right move and help this department move forward. I have worked as an instructor at Midstate Technical College on the fire and EMS side for the last 6 years, which I felt prepared me fairly well for this position. although jumping into the position there, I know I still have a lot to learn. But and so just some of my roles and responsibilities that I'll be taking over is we have SPS 330 are administrative laws in the state of Wisconsin that are what we have to follow as a public sector fire department. It's minimum health and safety standards. And anything that is in the SPS 330, as I said, are administrative law that we have to follow. And anything that has been, we'll get into the NFPA standards in a little bit, but any NFPA standards that SPS 330 has adopted are NFPA, the National Fire Protection Agency, is actually more of a set of guidelines, but anything that SPS 330 has adopted are administrative law, and we must follow, or we shall follow, in the state of Wisconsin. So with that, we have in SPS 330.03, along with a training officer position, each fire department shall have a health and safety officer, which is a position I fill as well. So my title being the training officer, but also the health and safety officer of the fire department. And some of that is the authority and responsibility to recommend corrections of violations of safety and health in the fire department, and also on the fire scene, immediate correction of situations that create an imminent hazard to personnel. So I can alter, suspend, terminate activities on the emergency scene that are determined to be unsafe or an imminent hazard. With that, we have had a occupational safety and health committee in the past. It kind of fell to the wayside a little bit, but that will be another committee that we will be putting back together. I will be the chair of that committee that conducts research, develops recommendations, reviews matters pertaining to the fire department, how we can be safer around the fire department, what we need to do as far as training to get better and safer in what we do. As we know, firefighting in general is presents some dangers in itself that we cannot avoid, but there are steps we can take to mitigate those hazards as much as possible. And also, moving on to SPS 330.07, each department shall have a training and education program. And not that we have not had the training in the past, but it has, the chief especially, and both assistant chiefs are quite busy with plenty of other things. I think our training has really lacked over the last 12 years, just because we have not had this position. Some things fell to the wayside, and I think the recreation of this position will really help us to get back to where we need to be. As far as like I said, the NFPA standards are set forth as best practice standards that we should follow, not necessarily a requirement, but anytime we have questions on things that we, how to do things, essentially, how we operate as a fire department, we refer to the NFPA guidelines as far as the best practice, and they have recommended practice for fire service training reports and records, standard on live fire training evolutions, standard on fire service respiratory protection training. They have just a number of things that we need to refer to as best practice and can help us fall in line as a fire department to be the best that we can be. And so that's part of what we have to follow on the fire side, not to mention on the EMS side as well. As most of you know, this position was created as a 50-50 split between the fire side and the EMS side of the department. And so some of the laws that govern how we operate on the EMS side of things is the National Registry of Emergency Medical Technicians that basically governs our license as EMS providers, along with we fall under a physician's license is how we are allowed to practice, but it defines what we can and cannot do as EMS providers. And just to get back to some of the training on what we do, and things that are pretty simple that we do on a daily basis, from IVs and injections and things like that, to our more complicated skills that we don't necessarily do as often, that that all require training, intubations and RSI, where we basically take over someone's breathing for them, or assisting in childbirth. Some of those things that we need to get back to and train on a little bit more, along with the medications. Currently, I believe I looked as I was preparing this presentation. I believe we carry 64 medications, and on these, once you start to look at all of the things that we need to know on a daily basis, and as you all know, we never know what's going to happen during the course of that day, so we have to be up on everything, whether it be fire or EMS. And just 64 medications alone, and knowing the indications, why we would give it, the contraindications, why we shouldn't give it, the dose, what we expect to happen once we give it, some side effects that could come from the medication. Some of these things in and of themselves require a great amount of time and effort to train on, and to remember, and to put to keep in mind, to keep on a daily basis. Not only that, but then our recertification as paramedics states that we need 60 hours in different categories to recertify every 2 years. And they break it down into different categories as far as airway, ventilation, cardiovascular, trauma, medical, and some other things, local requirements and things like that. So, and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, along with, we have to recertify our state license as long as with our national license, kind of falls in line with the national registry. There's just a few other things that they require that the national registry doesn't. But moving on into fire training, and we've touched on it a little bit, some of the NFPA standards that we have to follow. They do have standards for live fire training evolutions and things like that. I will tell you, stepping into this position during COVID has been difficult. As the chief mentioned during the COVID update, we have not been able to train together as a crew, where normally we would get together for one single training and we would train everybody at the same time. We've been splitting stations, so we'll train station just today. Well, today actually, we train station 1 in the morning, and this afternoon is, once done with this meeting, we're going to go out and train with station 2. But I think some of the things that we've lacked, from the little things to the big things. But as far as I'm concerned, the little things, if we do the little things right, the big things will fall into place. And just some things that have fallen by the wayside are our basic firefighter training. As far as, I think, in my opinion, we need to get out more on a at least monthly basis. And actually in SPS, it states that we are involved in structural firefighter training. We will train on it at least monthly. But some of those little things, and then familiarization of equipment, as far as, the stuff that keeps us alive, our turnout gear and our SCBAs. I think we need to, we'll get back to doing more training and more frequent training on some of those things, and operation of our apparatus and rescue techniques, all these things that we need to continuously strive to get better in order to ensure the safety of our members and provide the best possible service to our community. But so there's a lot that we have to get back to, as far as not only fire and EMS, but also in the county, we are a technical rescue team, and so as you can see from the slide, we do rope rescue, confined space rescue, ice water rescue, swift water rescue, trench rescue, collapse rescue, and auto extrication. I don't have pictures of all of those things on here, but when you look at all of the things that we are expected to know at the drop of a hat, it takes a lot of time and effort to make sure everybody, we're only as strong as our weakest link. So we need everybody on board, and everybody doing the best they can. So we did, and again, EMS training, I think I hit on that pretty good during a minute ago, but we, like I said, we have to keep up on our medications and some of our other procedures, and new equipment and techniques, and some, like I said, our assistant chiefs don't have the time to keep up, and our members are busy enough that we keeping up with new equipment and techniques and making sure we're on the cutting edge of the EMS so that we can provide the best service for our community. The one thing that has helped us during this COVID time is we have put into place Target Solutions. It's a web-based training platform. It's been helpful. We can send out trainings to everybody on the department at the same time, and they can be social distanced and go through them on their own computer at their own time, so that we can get the same training, standardized training out to our members without having to be in close contact. But it's also helpful to track our training hours. In the last 3 months since taking this position, I know we've had over 350 hours of training 3 months in a row. And I believe at least one, if not two of those months, we had over 400 hours of training. So it'll also help us to recertify through the National Registry, and it tracks our fire training hours for our ISO. One of the things I'm working on is our training calendar, our training schedule for 2021. It is a work in progress, but some of these things just take a lot of time. And to be honest with you, I've been fairly overwhelmed since taking this position. We have a long way to go, and we're taking steps to get there. I just don't see how I truly appreciate the creation of this position and being able to fill this position, because a lot of these things I don't know how we got by without, and so hopefully we can continue to move forward and continue to get better. And so with the training schedule, and one other thing I'm working on revamping is our new employee orientation, so that every time we hire a new employee, we train them the same way. In the past, they have got some training on days spread across all 3 crews, but then gone to a crew and got training mostly from that crew. I would like to standardize our training for new coming employees, so that it doesn't matter which crew they're assigned to or which crew they're working on for that day. Everybody knows the expectations and how we operate at each and every call. So that's all I had. If anybody has any questions, feel free.
Trevor, I'm just curious on the technical rescue things, the confined spaces, high angle and all that. Is that a specialty thing? Do you have a squad for confined spaces, one for, or does the entire department train on those specific items?
The entire department trains on each and every one of those items. However, we do have some members that are more well-versed and better qualified than others. So each can fill a position. Should we go to one of those calls, everybody knows what's going on and how it operates. But where people are placed in those positions, if we ever go to one of those calls, kind of depends on their comfort and their qualifications. So, that's part of the reason we need to train on them, continue to train on them and train more, is so that we find everybody's comfort level and know where everybody's at. And we can, once we get there, we assign people to the, assignments that they're comfortable with and positions that they need to be in.
All right. Sounds good.
Commissioner Moore, go ahead.
Carlson, to answer that a little bit further, depending on what position they hold currently in our department is what their expectations are for their training levels, whether they are to be trained at an operation level, a technician level, or a specialist level. Okay. So when the call comes in, we're able to respond as a fire department 24/7, 365, and fill all of those positions and needs.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Jerry?
Trevor, is there anything that, as a commission, that we can do to help you with any of these goals, or is this just something that you guys are going to have to deal with yourselves for now?
I think this is more internal. I appreciate that thought. I think this is more internal at this point, and one of my obstacles early on here has been the fact that, as stated, we haven't, and as most of you know, we haven't had this position in 12 years, and just finding, so I don't really have much of a template to follow. And I have plenty of resources that I can reach out to, and I've been, looking around and asking for some help here and there, but, just getting things dialed into Stephen's point and where we need to be and where we need to go, what we need to focus on. I don't really have a template to follow, so I'm kind of reinventing the wheel a little bit, trying to find the best path for our department. So I think it's just going to take a little bit of time, but we'll get there. We're moving forward.
Trevor, or I'm sorry, go ahead, Chief Finn. Turn your mic on, Bob.
Thanks. Well, I was going to go over it in my fire chief's report, but I think this is the place to do it. Division Chief Howard started his position on September the 8th. Our year-to-date training for 2020 was 1,720 and a half hours. Last year we did 874. So we're 900 hours more man training hours this year, just because of Division Chief Howard's getting out the Target Solution and the Lexapol. These are brand new programs that we didn't have 6 months ago, that when he got the position, it was said, here, figure it out, do it. And he's done an exceptional job doing it. So I just wanted to commend him and let you know that this position, in a short period of time, we've doubled our training hours, and he's only been in the position since September.
Well, as all of you have heard, and I'll get to you in a minute, Ron, the chiefs and the assistant chiefs and the training officer, I can't think of a more important role than continuing education in everything we do, that we are absolutely the best at what we do, that the training opportunities that have been afforded to the men and women of the police and fire services are taken advantage of. Continuing education requirements, I think all of you know, continue to change, they evolve. Trevor, I would imagine just in the short period of time that you have been assigned duties as training officer, you've seen some of these continuing education requirements evolve to different levels. Would that be an accurate statement, sir?
Sorry, what was at the end there? Can you repeat that, please?
Have you seen the continuing education requirements continue to evolve and change? That we have to stay on top of what we're doing and never really relax. So I think that's a fair statement.
Absolutely, and especially what we do, it's incredible. EMS is always changing. They continuously reevaluate what we do and how we operate and the medications we give. But on the fire side as well, in the last 10 years, the studies they've done, firefighting has evolved so much in the last 10 years. NIST has done a bunch of studies on flow paths and lightweight construction, and just, we don't have as many fires as we used to have. We have buildings are built out of lighter weight construction. Things are burning hotter, they're burning faster, and we don't have as many fires as we used to. So there are more firefighters dying per fire than there ever has been before. And so, people have started to realize this and come to the conclusion that we have to do something. And so some of the studies that have come out have really evolved how we fight fire. And especially, I believe all this has come to fruition in the last 10 years. It's really evolved what we do and how we see fire and fire behavior and fire growth. And so we need to continue to stay on top of that and continue to change to keep up and keep our members safe.
Well, I think we could address that with Assistant Chief Gamza, who was in the original class of paramedics and the original training levels that were required in the late 90s and 2000 when the city entered into that cutting edge program, becoming the first countywide paramedic service in the state of Wisconsin. Joseph, I would imagine that has changed dramatically since the first specs I was looking at in 98 and 99.
It does change because, again, we're looking for educated and smart personnel, and our medics never disappoint us in their ability to work outside of a box and make decisions when they're in the field. And as things change, if you would have told me 20 years ago what our medics are doing as opposed to, what they're currently doing as opposed to what we started out with, it's amazing. Chemically stopping somebody from breathing and then breathing for them to paralyze them was not on our radar ever. When you look at that, when we look at STEMIs, which is the actual heart attacks, and the going direct to cath labs, opening cath labs that are not cheap to open, and they're taking that off of the recommendations of the paramedics. Like Trevor said, the medications alone and understanding we don't have our paramedics, they just don't learn like one line of what a medication is. They have to learn what that medication does, how it actually at the cellular level reacts to what they've done, and the indications and the contraindications. So as I give this medication, what result am I looking for? And then on top of that, if you think about it, just the computerization or the technology of where we're at right now, along with making sure patients' privacies and their rights are covered, it's a full-time job, and I have never been so happy to have Trevor Howard anywhere next to me as I am now as a training officer, is what I'm going to tell you.
Commissioner Carlson, you've been very patient.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I understand the position as a training officer for the fire department, but as this evolves, will it also include training or education for the community as well?
Could I answer that?
Oh,
Hang on, I think Chief Finn's trying to speak.
I would like, if, when we get into the fire chief's report, I'm gonna say what I gotta say and then turn it over to Chief Moody. I think you're gonna be happy, or we can talk about it now if you want. Whatever.
Well, let's pause. Let's finish with the training aspect, and then we'll proceed down that path.
Commissioner Carlson, I think you'll be happy with the answer we're gonna give you in a few minutes.
Okay, all right, sounds good. I don't know if I can wait though, Bob.
All right, Commissioner Ostrowski, where did Commissioner Kirschling go? There you are. Joseph, you have any questions? Bob? Trevor? Anything? Okay.
No, I just want to say I'm rather impressed, and I'm happy to see we have that position filled again. It speaks well of our department. We're going back to all the necessary items we need.
thank
I
you.
would agree.
I would agree wholeheartedly.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for the training officer at this point? I don't see any. Okay. Let me move to approval of the minutes. Commissioners, you have minutes from the regular commission meeting of December 2nd and the special meetings that were held on December 10th and December the 11th. I have only praise for Leanne's great work in assembling these minutes and appreciate how you have documented those meetings. I can offer no editorial modifications. Thank you, Leanne. Colleagues?
Move approval.
Of all three?
Yes.
All right. We have a motion to approve the 3 minutes, seconded by
Personally.
Thank you, Commissioner Kirschling. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item 6, confirmation of the bills. Commissioner Ostrowski, you want to start? And I'll catch up with you in a minute here.
Well, I tell you, you know, you guys are making this job hard on me because you're impressing the heck out of me on meeting our budget. It's I was rather pleased to see that we came in. Every department came in. I do realize the end of the year things happen, things break down, but I really have no overall questions on the budget bills at all.
Commissioner Carlson, Moore,
I'm good.
Kirschland. I just have one. I'm interested, I'm looking at the Wisconsin Public Service charges in the Stevens Point area at $3,385. Have we done an energy audit of that building? It seems high to me as someone who's paid energy bills on big buildings for many years of his career. Is that within your normal parameters, Chief Center? Or is it 5 months you've gathered and put into one building? Or
That has been consistent throughout the year, that billing. And yes, it's expensive. It's a big building, but it has been consistent.
Have we had an energy audit performed in that building, sir?
Not during my time, no.
I'm going to recommend you take a look at that, at least have a conversation. Wisconsin Public Service Corporation provides those, and sometimes they have all sorts of useful hints and things that can be. Now, we still share part of that building with another occupant. Is that correct?
Yes, we do. That's also Northwest Journey. That's part of that. That's obvious. That's, geez, maybe not even quite a quarter of the building. It's that one wing. So
All right.
not even that full wing. We do have a couple offices on that end that are the community rooms, and also community media has moved over here, but that's just one room. And even that, the cost has been consistent since before they moved in.
All right.
Tom, does Northwest Journey pay a portion of the WPS cost, or is the Stevens Point Police Department paying for the entire building?
We pay for the whole building.
Oh, that doesn't seem right.
Is that, and Tom, I know I'm putting you on the spot. I probably should have warned you. Is that something that was negotiated in the lease between the city and the rentor? Do you know?
Well, that was negotiated with Michael Ostrowski was here, and I can double check with him to see what part of that was, what was the negotiation on it. But yeah, that wasn't negotiated it was not negotiated by the police department.
Oh, I know. Well, just take a peek at that, would you? See what's in the contract and see what can be. Are there any other questions on bills? If not, I'll move approval of the bills as submitted to the Police and Fire Commission. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Carlson. All in favor of adopting the bills as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item 7, the police chief's report. Tom, is this where you want to talk about Officer Clark?
Yes, I wasn't going to have that on a separate part, but we did have one of our officers that received a life-saving award this month, did an outstanding job. Actually, the incident took place at the end of November on the 27th. Officer Clark showed up at a residence with a female patient that initially was having trouble breathing. By the time he arrived, had gone into cardiac arrest. He began CPR protocol, doing compressions, continued with compressions when EMTs arrived to set up equipment. And on December 16th, we received a call from the victim's sister that was very excited to report that her sister was on her way home, that she survived the incident, and was forever grateful for Officer Clark. We're proud of the young man. Robert Cousseau, our assistant chief, recognized him with this award. And if you haven't seen it on our Facebook page, he was awarded that in our training room.
Congratulate. Please convey to the officer the thanks of the commission too.
We will. Thank you.
Go ahead, Chief.
Other than that, we have just a few things I did want to touch base on. We had a significant investigation that took place on a traffic stop, led to actually an investigation that is now being conducted by the U.S. Postal Inspector. This was an incident that not only did it affect the Stevens Point area, but, and Assistant Chief Cousseau, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this was also an investigation that was taking place in the Green Bay area with the same suspects, and ultimately entailed these individuals taking mail out of the local mailboxes, and then kind of scary stuff, going out and getting credit cards and loans and basically mail fraud through that. There was some counterfeit checks that were found in the vehicle. Our patrol officers initially came across it, basic traffic stop, turned into a pursuit, which will be another thing that would like to address. We've been having quite a few vehicle pursuits this year, more than I can recall recently. I haven't really added that up, but as we're commencing annual reports, I'm going to have Assistant Chief Cousseau look at that. We'll compare. Seems like every month, at least in the use of force reporting, I'm having another vehicle pursuit pop up, and that's something that we have not seen in the past at that level of frequency.
I think they're up nationwide too, Tom. It's not just Stevens Point. Pursuits are Or yeah, and you're entirely right. I read the things all the time, and I can't remember this many pursuits.
Do we know why? Anybody know why?
No, like I said, it's just, I'm seeing it more and more pop up on our use of force reporting, and that's a use of force that we do because normally during a pursuit ends with a high-risk stop where we are pointing our handguns at individuals. Just the display of a weapon is a use of force. So ultimately, that's why I'm seeing those pop up. In this particular case, it was a pursuit that also involved a stop sticks, I believe. We had a mutual aid assist by the county, and it's been a while since we've had that. It was successful in stopping the vehicle just outside of the community, but we're going to do some looking into that and just see. Like Commissioner Carlson said, it's not unique to Stevens Point, but I would be interested in seeing how many more pursuits we're seeing now comparatively in the last few years.
We'll make a note and follow up on that. Follow-up report at your discretion, Chief. What else do you have for us?
Other than that, we are currently going through a hiring process. We do have Officer Stanislavski that retired towards the end of the year, and we do have an anticipated opening February 16th. We have an officer that advised he'll be retiring. We will be doing interviews tomorrow. I believe we have 5 candidates that will be meeting with myself and 2 assistant chiefs, and hopefully we will be identifying some candidates for the Police and Fire Commission to review for the February PFC meeting.
Yeah, and we still have, yeah, okay. I'm just making notes of myself and realize I'm talking to myself here too. Other questions for the chief?
The last thing I have is that Sergeant Blue is back from Indiana. He has successfully completed his training. He is now certified instructor for K-9 and will be able to do recertifications not only for our police department, and we anticipate other entities within central Wisconsin that have K-9 units, and hopefully we'll expand out to a whole host for the entire state.
Our hope here is that other agencies with K-9s will utilize us for additional recertification and training.
Correct. Last count, I believe we had in the double digits, I think 16, I could be wrong, that have gave a verbal commitment to train here in Stevens Point.
Excellent. All right. Commissioner Ostrowski.
Good question for you, Tom. One is, do any of our vehicles carry the road spikes in them, or is it strictly the county that does it? And second is, what is the call on when a pursuit is called off? What's the determination?
First off, all our vehicles have spikes in them, not just the county. The county was assisting us out, obviously. That chase went out into the county. As for calling off a chase, there's several factors that come in. That's a decision that's made at the shift supervisory level. Obviously, the first thing you're going to be looking at is what's the nature of the stop. Normally, when you have a simple traffic violation, that's going to put it on the radar very early most time. More times than not, a chase will be terminated. You can look into how much traffic is out there, what's the weather conditions, what's the speeds. Many things come into play. I am very confident with our officers that we are very conservative, and more times than not, we will terminate a chase unless it is a very significant event where those options become limited. And that's more on the severity of the crime.
It's a combination of the officer reporting back to superiors and the joint decision on it.
It's never a joint decision. Well, ultimately it can be the officer, but ultimately that responsibility will come down to the supervisor, who becomes front and center, and that soon there's so many different things that go into play on evaluating whether that chase should continue. And above all else, it's the safety of the public, the safety, obvious, even of the offender and of the officer.
Thank you, Tom.
And I think what Chief Zenner said plays in a little bit to why we're having more chases now, because chases are never a good thing, and usually they are terminated, as he said. Too many chances for innocent people to become victims in them, but I think that's played into the nationwide phenomenon of all these chases now, is people know they're going to get called off and they're going to roll the dice and they're going to run. That's just my gut feeling, but I'm sure that plays a large portion into it, why they're doing it.
Well, Chief Zenner, I'm a little surprised you haven't talked about how you're going to use your brand new drone.
Well, when we get towards the end of the year, and this is something that we've been looking at purchasing for quite some time. We had some extra money in our investigations budget, and that was a discussion we have. We now do have a drone, and we also have Detective Matt Drossel that has completed training to fly that drone. It'll be utilized for obviously some of our larger scale investigations, mapping, but more importantly, even for our SWAT team. So we're excited about it. I haven't seen it fly yet, so.
Yeah. Are there other questions for our police chief? All right, I'll move approval of the report submitted by Chief Zenner.
Second on that.
Second by Commissioner Moore. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All say no, motion carries. Okay, we're moving to the fire chief and EMS report. Okay, Chief Finn, you've kept us waiting with great anticipation. You have the, where are you? You're over there. Okay, go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Carlson will not be disappointed with the answer he's about to give. But before I give that over to Chief Moody, I just want to say that significant events, the first snow, I-39 was a mess from Stanley Street up past Division Street. We had multiple vehicles out there for over an hour. No major injuries. I wanted to bring that up. But in your report, you have some of the year-end totals that I just want to highlight because we'll probably be presenting our annual report in March to you. But for the year, we had 1,049 fire runs, 3,336 ambulance calls, for a total of 4,385 runs. I just want you to know that. Before I turn it over to Chief Moody, I also want to mention that during the Public Safety Red Kettle Challenge, the Stevens Point Fire Department came out number one. We raised $2,779.61. And it's all in for a great cause, and we have a lot of fun with different fire departments and police departments in this. So now what I'm going to turn over is, I saw a video and I went to Chief Moody, Division Chief Howard and Division Chief Egan and said, can we do something like this? And this was right before Christmas. What these guys put together in a very short period of time, as I'm gonna let Chief Moody talk about this because this was an accomplishment. Chief Moody, are you there?
Yeah, I just had to take myself off mute, Chief. So to answer Commissioner Carlson's question from earlier, I'd like to point out underneath the fire chief's report under public activities, just this past month, the Fire Bureau and the training division teamed up to bring the community a public education announcement on Christmas tree safety. And they posted this out onto the net through our social media channels. And it got over 13,756 views over this past holiday season. These two just did this, like the chief said, over the past few weeks. It was a discussion that we had that we wanted to bring forward. And so to answer your question, Commissioner Carlson, Trevor Howard as our Division Chief of Training and Drew Egan as our Division Chief following the Fire Bureau or in charge of the Fire Bureau, have been working very closely with the community and bringing them public safety announcements almost monthly. I just wanted to point this last one out because I thought it was very significant. But going back to Fire Prevention Month, they were posting stuff daily and getting it out to the community. Actually, this October was kitchen safety, and they actually went upstairs in the kitchen here at Station 1 and gave demos on how to properly cook. We've taken some of our additional money and fundings for this year, and we've bought some very...
There's no additional money.
Well, we bought it anyways. We bought some high-end audio equipment to be able to produce these videos that you are seeing and editing them with additional help as well from Sarah. And these two teaming up have been able to produce great things for the department, and we are so proud to have them working well together and giving the community the knowledge and the support that they're giving them. It's unreal. So I just wanted to point that out. I think it's very important that we recognize the two of them and what they're doing and continuing forward with everything they're going to do moving forward in the future.
I'd also like to commend Sarah from Community TV. She does a great job of editing these videos, and we've been using her a lot. She's done a nice job working with us.
That is good news, you guys. Excellent job. Excellent job.
Any videographer who is willing to gear up and go into a burning building is above and beyond the call of duty. Sarah, well done. Are there questions?
Did we answer your question, Commissioner Carlson?
Yeah, and it did make me very happy. I love stuff like that. That's excellent news.
Also, the one thing I wanted to point out that when you get a chance to go out there and watch this Christmas tree safety announcement on our Facebook page, if you notice Sparky standing there with Fire Marshal Egan, that is, I want to point that out. It's really important that is a brand new Sparky uniform that the Stevens Point Fire Department purchased this year. And that Sparky outfit is not a cheap costume. That is several $1,000s to just have that Sparky uniform.
Oh, wow.
So to get that out there and get kids comfortable in the community with Sparky and fire safety, we've been putting a lot of extra money into our public education account this past year or two.
We don't have any extra money.
Yeah.
There is no extra money.
I spend anything extra.
No, but it's not extra.
Commissioner Ostrowski, it's zero.
I don't know, maybe I gotta take a look at those expenses again.
Right.
I'm feeling the sense that I should intervene here, but I thought I'd let it play out for a moment, see how it goes between you two. Well, look, first of all, congratulations to all. I think I probably say this at least once or twice every meeting. The importance of education, the importance of training, the importance of community education, of sharing information with those who we protect and provide protection services to. It needs to be in so many different areas. And clearly, with the power of social media today, we see both it's good and it's not so good, but it's a very powerful, effective communication tool, and one that I use in a number of areas and in other pursuits. I'll say that. So well done. People go to that social media. Bob, should we return to you? There's got to be more to your report.
No, that was it for my report, sir.
All right, let me ask you a question. You reported, and I may not have written the number down correctly, some ambulance EMS runs for the year of 3,336. Okay. 36. Now, there was considerable discussion, as the commission remembers, a few years ago when the county fundamentally fragmented the service, which is a discussion for a different day, but created Amherst EMS district, Plover EMS district, and that was going to basically smooth out the EMS runs. How does 3,336, and maybe this is a better question for Chief Gemza, compared to, say, the runs in 19 or 18? Has there been any appreciable decline in our EMS activity in the city? And I don't care which one of you answer it. Joseph?
Not within the city. Overall, as a whole, the numbers, like we talked when the Plover ambulance started, they weren't going to lie. That we don't change that many. There's really about a four ambulances response difference from 19 to 20. So it's about 1,000 runs is what we're down from when we were at 18. The biggest trend that I'm looking right now is in our ALS runs. In runs that would be advanced life support. If you look at that, they're up about 176 from 2019, and that's a big picture when you think about it. Regarding those are skills and interventions that medics have to do, and when they say ALS stands for advanced life support, so those are not just like, hey, can I make you comfortable? These are skills that we're asking our paramedics to do and make decisions on. So those are the trends that I'm really looking at when we look at EMS runs.
And we're still doing paramedic intercepts.
That is correct. Generally from the Wapaka area is when they come in.
Are there questions for Chief Finn on the fire chief and EMS report? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept those reports.
I make a motion.
Commissioner Ostrowski, seconded by Commissioner Carlson.
Okay.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those say no. All right. Item number 9, I will read the consideration of a motion to adjourn in the closed session pursuant to section 1985 1C, E, and F, and G, for the purpose of considering the employment of any public employee over which the Police and Fire Commission has jurisdiction, conducting other public business which for competitive reasons requires a closed session. Preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems which, if discussed in public, would likely have an adverse effect upon the reputation of persons involved, to be adopted by the Commission with respect to problems conferring with legal counsel who was rendering advice regarding the strategy, to be adopted by the Commission with respect to potential litigation it may become involved in, including discussion regarding candidates for police chief position, discussion of procedures for disciplinary hearing before the Commission, excuse me, and discussion of concerns regarding the staffing in the fire department. I will so move. Excuse me. Air is dry in my office here today. Seconded by Commissioner Ostrowski. Was that you?
Will do.
All right. Leanne, would you please call the roll? Turn your mic on, please, Leanne.
Sorry.
Leanne, and that's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's fine.
Firstling? Is my mic on?
Yeah.
Your mic is
Okay.
Here's the zone.
Moore, Ostrowski, and Westcott.
Yes.
yes. All right. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone except for Dean Dietrich. Tom, would you transfer master control to me here?
Yep.
And we'll say goodbye.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.